So the next myth that I'm going to bust today is if you don't love yourself completely, you aren't ready to love anyone. Have you guys heard that one? Let me know if you've heard that one. Or another variation on that theme that I actually see a lot is if you aren't, or like you have to be fully healed in order to have a relationship. So here's the thing, I think what people are asking when they're asking about this teaching is like, can you actually do some of your healing in a relationship? Do you have to be fully and completely healed before you can find real healthy love? So the answer is yes. So this is a myth that you need to fully love yourself, that you need to be fully healed in order to be in a healthy relationship. It's not true. You don't have to fully and completely love yourself, and you don't need to be fully and completely healed. Because again, like when we're talking about full self-love, I think when people say this, they don't truly understand what complete and full self-love means. Complete and full self-love means complete enlightenment. It's that journey that I was talking about before that is intense and difficult, and it's so rare. So many of us are not going to get there. But so many of us can have happy and healthy relationships. So again, it's not necessary to be fully and completely loving yourself in order to get into a healthy relationship. But there's some nuance here. Do you have to at least have some self-love? And do you at least have to have some healing to be in a healthy relationship? The answer is yes, absolutely. If I didn't believe this, I wouldn't be doing this work. Like this is what I do. This is my career. I help women to go on a healing journey, to get to the point where they are healthy enough and love themselves enough to get into a healthy relationship. But I have no illusions. Like the work that I do, like for example, my 12-week program, that is not meant to be like the be-all, end-all of healing. It is not meant to heal every single thing possible. It's just meant to get you, again, to the point where we're healing the most important aspects of whatever you need to heal to get into that healthy relationship. So again, it is not necessary at all. To get to the point where you're fully and completely healed, we're talking years of work here, if not decades. And it would be extremely intense work. So when you're hearing that stuff, again, this is probably coming from people who are not that far in their own healing journey. They're not that far in their own awakening journey. It's not necessary at all to be fully and completely healed or to fully and completely love yourself. Really, like I'll use my work as an example. The goal of my program is to get you to a place where you can make different choices, where you can set boundaries, where you can feel attraction for healthy partners, where you can make different choices in who you're going for. That's the point of it. It's not to completely and utterly heal every single thing possible. So you can heal in a relationship, and actually I myself have healed a tremendous amount in my relationship because the relationship is safe, because the relationship is healthy. My nervous system calms down. Like every time we have a little conflict or I get triggered by something, which isn't that much, frankly, but it happens because I have trauma. So little things will trigger me sometimes, but every time that happens and the conflict is resolved in a healthy way, like my partner and I talk about it, we come to understand each other, he changes his behavior, I change my own behavior, my nervous system, it just relaxes more and more and more. Now that I see that I can be in this environment where I am respected, where someone does care about how I feel. And so that's the kind of thing that a relationship really, really helps. It can actually accelerate your healing. But again, you don't need to be completely healed in order to get to that place. Just enough so that you can show up well in that relationship. Like I personally love using energy healing because it really brings down some of those emotional triggers. Like it brings down a lot of that like angst that you might be feeling if you've come out of a toxic relationship recently and you're just feeling like you're so raw. That's the kind of work that I do to help you get to the place where you can show up. Again, it's not going to completely take away every single thing, but it's going to get you to the point where you can have a healthy relationship. So it's not, one more time, I'm just going to clarify this. It is not realistic to think that we need to completely love ourselves or be completely healed in order to have a healthy relationship. Someone shared this myth, and I want to bust this. If love is everything and in everyone, then can't I theoretically be happy with anyone? And this is actually such a great question and such a great topic to talk about. So I'm actually going to share a story. So back when I was dating my spiritual teacher boyfriend, I laugh because I just it's funny sometimes for me to look back on where I was because I'm in such a different place now. But at the time, I was dating my spiritual teacher boyfriend, and he was very into A Course in Miracles. So if you haven't heard about A Course in Miracles, it's this supposedly channeled work that talks about how to be a loving person, how to have loving spiritual relationships. And one of those principles that they taught was that if you were fully awake, if you were fully enlightened, you should be able to love anyone. You should be able to be in a relationship with anyone. So I spent a lot of time trying to have a relationship with someone who was abusive to me. I tried to, I could see that there was, and this is where a lot of teachings can get dangerous. There was a kernel of truth in there, and I could see that. So what the kernel of truth was in here is that if you are fully enlightened, yeah, you'll love everyone, which just means not romantic love, you'll accept anyone. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be in a relationship with anyone, or that you can be, or that you should be, or that it's good for you to be. Not at all. Not at all. So again, I spent a lot of time trying to fit myself in this box. I actually remember hearing a story of a woman who was taking the course. She was very into A Course in Miracles, and she heard this teaching and was like, oh, I'm going to try to do this. And she met this person who was very, very kind to her, but who she felt zero physical attraction toward, who she felt actually repulsed her. But she had these teachings in her head, and she's like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to love this person. And so she stayed in this relationship where she felt actual repulsion for being with this person, but she said, according to her, that her love did grow. She came to love this person. So at that time, I heard this story, and I was like, I want to do this. I want to try to be this person. And I couldn't do it. And I kept putting myself in situations where, not like her, this person was treating her kindly, but where someone wasn't treating me well. But I thought, well, okay, I'm on this path of awakening. I'm on this path of healing. This is what I should be doing. And I know that some of this might not be totally relatable, but what I'm going to share, I think, might be for you guys. So again, I talked about this before. When we are fully awakened or fully enlightened, we will accept everyone. We will love everyone. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to have our own personal preferences, or that we're going to not have any boundaries. We are going to have that. So love is indeed within us. Like I talked about before, if we're on this healing journey, if we're on this awakening journey, we're on a path of dissolving our ego. What's left over is love. It's acceptance. And that's why I talk a lot about what love truly is. It's acceptance. It's peaceful. So when you're at that point, you don't judge. You don't judge other people. You have a ton of compassion. You accept other people. But, again, this but here. Accepting someone, or in other words, a lack of judgment, does not mean that we should or can, or even that we want to stay in a relationship where we're not being treated well, where we're being abused, or even with just someone that we don't get along with because our personalities just aren't, they're not matching. We don't have the same values. We don't want the same things out of life. So when we're talking about spirituality, there's always like an and, there's always a paradox. We have to hold two realities at once here. So let's just say, for example, that I'm fully enlightened. I can accept someone unconditionally. I cannot judge them. I can understand maybe a large part of where they're coming from. Even if I haven't experienced something exactly like they have, I can understand it because I've been through enough of my own stuff. Like I've seen enough of my own potential to treat people badly that, okay, yeah, like I can see why they're like that. That's the one reality. I don't judge anybody. I accept people. And let's say, for example, this person that I'm talking about is a violent criminal. I can accept them. I cannot judge them. And I'm not going to let them hang out with me. I'm not going to invite them into my house. If they are dangerous and there's a potential that they're going to harm me, I'm not going to keep them close to me. So it's these two realities. I accept other people and I accept and love myself enough where I'm going to have these boundaries and I'm not going to let this person come close to me. So I hope that this makes sense. Again, it's a paradox. There's these two realities that we're holding at the same time. The love for others that we have and the love for ourselves. And there has to be a balance. So this means that I value my life and I'm not going to put myself in situations where I'm going to be harmed. So this is an extreme example, bringing up a violent criminal here, but it does correlate to what probably a lot of you are experiencing out there, which is that, yeah, like love is within us. It is indeed our true nature. It is at the core of who we are. We could even say it's like at the heart of the universe. It's just love, it's acceptance. But it doesn't mean that everyone will make a good partner for us. Not at all. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button because I come out with new videos every week. If you're looking for daily support and inspiration, you can find me over on Instagram at Living Free Finding Love. And if you're interested in one-on-one support, go to my website at livingfreehealing.us.